Thank you. So the topic is working in a fast-growing company, but I'm going to focus on the management role as chapter leader, and I'm going to explain what that all means. First of all, this is me. I started programming in the 80s. You're such a young crowd here. There's amazing how many. I think the average age would be 27 or something like that. That's really amazing. I'm not going to be boring and tell you how old I am, but the most popular hockey player when I was a kid was called Alexander Maltsev. You don't know who that is? Okay. So what is Spotify? I guess that most of you perhaps have tried it, even though we're not released in Russia. It's a music streaming business. So we engage lots and tons of subscribers, users that wants to listen to music. So we have 80 million users, 30 million paying subscribers, and we serve a catalog of plus 30 million tracks, which is music. And recently we also added podcasts and video to it. And we're available in 58 markets, so we're sort of quite big in that sense. Now, let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about what we do in Spotify when it comes to software development. Now, this is a logo from a thing that we called Hack Week at Spotify. Now, this hasn't really so much to do about the talk that I'm doing, but there is a context. I'm going to put you in it right in a few seconds. So, Hack Week is an important thing. I think we got inspired by Google. I don't really, if it was called the Red Lantern or something like that. Anyways, Hack Week means that we give every employee a week to do per year, or we have had 2 Hack Weeks per year, to do anything they like. That is not project related. Perhaps Spotify related, but not necessarily project related, right? They can do anything they like. So this is a logo from 2013, and it says Hack Week, because we thought that was a really cool name. But actually it was an excluding name. It didn't sort of embrace or encompass the whole company, because if you work in finance and you want to do Hack Week, that doesn't resonate to them. So I didn't have the logo, I didn't find it anywhere on the net, but I had it on my computer, so I turned it upside down and took a picture of it, and there it is, Fix It Week. Now, then technology got upset. We're not fixing bugs. No, it's not about fixing bugs. Fix something that you think that needs to be fixed, and still can be anything. Now, what would we come up with? Here's some example. This is a drinking mixing machine. You see, there's an iPad on the right. That's an application that they made. You give them the name of the Spotify user you are. There will be a look up in the back end and say, you're this user. You like this kind of music. That's why you want this drink. And the machine gives you the drink. That's a Hack Week project. Here's another one. It's not so good visible, but it's Henrik Kniberg. He's one of the big agile coaches from Sweden. He works a lot for us. He's bicycling a machine that is connected to a Spotify player, and the slower he pedals, the slower the music gets. Right? These were software development hacks, right? Pretty fun. But you don't need to do that. Now, this presentation is about chapter lead role and your responsibilities as a chapter lead and what's expected of you. This is Åsa Randby. When she started at Spotify, she accumulated the information that she thought was, this is what is expected of me as a chapter lead. And she made a slide deck of all the things that she thought was the role, what the role was all about. And I'm showing her for you guys here because I'm using her slides. Now, what is Spotify when we think about the software development part? So it mainly consists of 3 parts. Think of this as a stool, a chair, but with only 3 legs, and we need all 3 legs in order to stand up correctly. So We have product. Product's responsibility is to, have the vision of what we're supposed to do. What's the next cool thing? Or what should we focus on? Technology, so it could be like product says, we need to go over to the other side of the river. That's super important. Technology is the people who will build a bridge or a helicopter or something else to get over the river. And design will make the bridge usable and the helicopter, user-friendly to fly and stuff like that. We need all these three legs. Now, I'm in technology, so and we all work a little bit different, so the chapter lead role is specific to technology. You might have seen this. So this is sort of a map over the organization that we have in technology. So the core of what we do at Spotify happens in the squads. A squad is the same thing as a team. A team has a product owner, and the product owner owns the mission for that squad. He knows exactly what the squad should be doing, and the product owner has people in the squad that help him fulfill that mission. So the squad can be cross-functional. Means that, for instance, we have a squad called Kiwi. Forget about the name, but they implement search features in Spotify. So they have people who creates the UIs for the mobiles and the desktop and the web, but also back-end people who creates the databases and the search API so we can access the data we search. So they're cross-functional in that sense, and they also have testers, and they have test automators to their disposal to help all the people in the team to do test automation. So it's really a cross-functional team. Now, since it's cross-functional, we have different skill sets represented. I mentioned testers, I mentioned back-end and front-end developers, and they belong to chapters. So a chapter is a specific skill set. So I'm the chapter lead for QA, which, by the way, does not mean quality assurance, it means quality assistance, which is a difference. Anyway, I'm the chapter lead for the testers and the test automators in a tribe. So we gather all the skill set, so a chapter is sort of a line organization, if you want. And the squads could be sort of the projects, the mini projects, if you like. Now, this is the context. So I'm going to talk about the green rectangle, the chapter, and the chapter lead role. Okay. So these are the 6 areas that Åsa came up with, and I fully agree with what she had written. And these are the main responsibilities that I care about. I need to care about the individual that I have in my chapter. I need to make sure that he or she is happy and that the person has everything the person needs and see to the personal growth and development. But I also care about the squad in which my chapter member works in. The chapter is more about how do we see that we have the technology, that we use the best practices or the patterns that we should use or discard. It's more of a sort, and also there's a piece of, I'm going to go through these in details, so I'm just mentioning them now. HR stuff. So HR is perhaps salary. I need to do salary reviews. If a location, if we bring in people from, say, Russia, we need to be really good at relocate them. So HR helps me with that. Staffing and hiring. Now, they are not the same. They are actually separate. The recruiters are a separate organization. Since we are growing like crazy, we found that we will get a better hiring pipeline if we can get them closer to us and not stuck with the HR. They are sort of HR, but they're tightly knit to us. And then the organization. I do care about the organization in which I sort of work in. And if I see anything that needs to be changed or addressed, that's important. It's expected of me to do that. My actions inspire trust. So it's not always what I say, it's also what I do, which is important. So these are the things that I need to do. The first one, I give regular feedback, and I'm happy to receive it. It's really, really important. Without feedback loop, how would we ever improve? I can think that I do the right thing, but not necessarily so. I give my squad space to grow and solve problems. I do that. I actually have time to work in a squad. So I actually am a member of a squad. So that gives me good insight in terms of what the squad does. I also create an environment that encourages development and innovation. Really, really important. And I'm clear and open and not afraid to speak my mind. Not always that easy. I mean, we are all humans and we are individuals, and some people need coaching. I have been coached. So, and if my manager sees that, well, why didn't you say something? And we have a discussion around that. All right, let's take them piece by piece. So, supporting the individual. So, I need to make sure that they're in a good place, feeling happy, right? Also that they have the need, that they have everything they need in order to deliver good stuff or things. It could be computers, right, or something else. That they need continuously to grow both skills and behaviors. So that's sort of the coaching part that I need to do with them. So these are the things that I would expect a chapter lead to do. So it says delivering value. So, okay, this is what I expect to do as a chapter lead towards the individuals in my squad, right? So I would expect the individuals to deliver value to Spotify and enjoy doing that. They should be empowered. Again, as a chapter lead, it's my role to see that they are empowered. Have a clear view on what's expected of them, of course. Receive and give feedback to the individuals. See to that they have the right skills and challenges and the right workload. People at Spotify has a high degree of freedom to move. If I see that one of my employees in my chapter could do better elsewhere in some other tribe, I would happily help that person get there. Be coached, to help them coach them so they grow at a pace that sort of is good for them, not too fast. They should have a development plan. A development plan could mean that I'm a back-end developer today. I think I want to be an agile coach. All right, okay. Is there anything I can do to help there? And have a clear picture of what the company is going and of course the whys. Now, this is what I do. Let me click. This is what I do in order to accomplish this. I have weekly one-on-ones. Now, weekly one-on-ones are meetings with an individual. So we have fixed scheduled calendar invites, so they know that they have access to me and I know that I have access to them. And it's on an individual basis. Some people, I don't have that many weekly one-on-ones with, perhaps bi-weekly. Some people I perhaps have more than just one weekly one-on-one. And during that 30 minutes or 40 minutes meeting, we discuss the things that I mentioned above. I do coaching. I work in squads to actually see the members of my team perform. I participate in something called POC-LAC. It's an acronym. It means product owner, chapter lead, agile coach. So if there's anything we need to discuss which relates to how a team function, we do that in a POC-LAC. Maybe there's two members in the team that has a very bad way when they talk to each other and it sort of influences the rest of the team. We discuss that and bring that up in the POC-LAC, and maybe we need to talk to these persons. Maybe we need to discuss individuals, or the mission, or whatever we need to do, so that the squad will be in a good place. The POC meetings are really, really important. And I attend in the stand-ups where I have my employees in. So stand-up is something a squad or a team has every morning. And I'm participating in the retrospect. And we have fika. It's a Swedish word. It means, instead of saying to you, hey, I want to meet you, that's sort of intimidating. Instead I say, let's have a fika. It means let's have a cup of coffee and something to eat and discuss things. It's very sort of non-aggressive, informal, and it's a very relaxed way of having discussions. If you ever go to Sweden, you need to learn fika. Okay, supporting the squads. So I need to make sure that the squads have what they need, seeing from a squad perspective. And I need to help them improve in their ways of working. And these are the things that I would expect a chapter lead to work on towards squads. So they should deliver great stuff. They should enjoy collaborating. And when they do the things they do in the squads. They should feel ownership of their stuff. And the third one is really, really important. They should feel empowered. Empowered in this context means that if they want to use this tool instead of that tool, they can do it. They should do it. If they want to do Kanban instead of Scrum, instead of, I don't know, they can do it. There's few mandatory things that we enforce developers do at Spotify. We need them to commit to GitHub Enterprise. We need them to do code reviews. And there's some little things more, but otherwise, we don't care if they use a Linux machine or if they use a Mac. Most people use Mac. If they want to use VI or Emacs or IntelliJ, I mean, it's up to the individuals and the team to feel empowered that they can choose their own path. They should be in control of their own destiny, so to speak. That's what it means. The squad, have a clear view of where we're going. I mean, they should know what the mission is, going over the river, right? They should also continuously improve the quality of their system. So, I mean, we build a lot of stuff, but we can't really forget about them. We need to maintain them as well. And there's always technical debt somewhere, so is there anything we can do in order to improve that? And of course, it's my responsibility to see that the squads have the right competence and skill sets when I put somebody in a squad, that it actually is a match. And this is what I do in order to accomplish this. So I attend the stand-ups and plannings, and I facilitate them. It's a bit overlapping with what the Agile coaches does or do. I attend the roadmap sessions where we do long-term planning. Also, I attend or facilitate retrospect. As a QA chapter lead, I love to have meetings that we call ways of working. We don't really have a development process at Spotify, so we don't have any test process as well, of course. But ways of working is a way of defining for a squad how we would like to work. So we define how do we go from idea all the way to end user. So we meet, it takes a half a day, the whole team, and then we discuss how we go from idea to user stories, how we break down stories to tasks, ask questions as how do we test this, how do we know when we're done, how we do code reviews, we define that, what kind of code coverage we would like to have from our unit tests. Are we going to write any functional tests or integration tests? Are we going to do system tests? All that are questions that we define during that meeting. So that's an example. Okay, POC again. So in that sense, we focus on this, that they actually have all they need in order to do what we expect from them, because we want them to be high performing. Offsites. So offsite means take the team away from the office, go somewhere else, and discuss specific matters. And I help facilitate that and plan that. Drive initiatives within the organization to improve working environment for the squad. Well, when we moved from our previous office into our new office, we sort of could do a office planning of the actual layout of the rooms. So we said that, okay, we are working agile, we have tight teams, autonomous teams. They should have really cool squad rooms. So we sort of had an idea of what a cool squad room would be. So we had quite an impact in the layout of how we built our office, which ended up pretty cool. So it's, in essence, they have their own lobby, their own sort of couch area, walls full of whiteboards in different colors, their own conference room, which is sort of a 4-person conference room, which nobody else can book, and stuff like that. That's an example of that. Now, chapter. So I expect from a chapter lead to do these things, like get help and learn from the other chapters, increase the collaboration between chapters, increase and share knowledge practices within the chapter, between the members of the chapter, and get inspired from things around us, like going to conferences, like you guys are doing. And also drive initiative within the company so that we have the right architecture. Like in this meeting, ways of working, I as a QA, I would drive the architecture into a testable way. We can't have a monolithic software stack where nothing is visible until we see something in the client. That would be hard to test, for instance. And these are the things that I do in order to accomplish that, like chapter meetings. I arrange lunch and learns and tech talks. So conferences again, send people off to conferences, encourage them to go, encourage them to speak, and also share information about the company, of course, within the chapter, so they know that we have made a decision like, yes, we will have Bridge Day, which is a day where we are off free from the sort of vacation day. Anyways, HR stuff. Now, this is my responsibility as a representative for the company towards the employers. So I need to make sure that they get their expenses approved, or make them, or authorize them to actually do it themselves, if applicable. On-call reports. We have back-end developers that might be on call, which means that if the system misbehaves during the middle of the night, they will get a phone call and they need to fix it. So everyone is not on call every time, so we have a rotating schema for that. So we need to fix that. They should have the equipment that they need, and I should see to that they get it and approve that. They should have the right contract, the right job title, stuff like that. Answers about employment, rules, compensation, have the right compensation, that's the salary review. Have the right working environment and hours on call, but also STEP. STEP is a framework that we introduced to Spotify, which is, not everyone wants to be a manager, and that would be sort of a career path. You're a developer or tester, then you become a manager or something else, but not everybody wants that. So we introduced steps, which means that step 1 is when you come into the company, you only care about yourself because you want to learn, and you're not really contributing yet. But after a short while, you become step 2, which means you're contributing to the squad. Step 3 would mean that you would be contributing to the whole tribe. But it's not contributing in like you're a really good developer or tester. That's just one little part of it. It's a set of defined behaviors, the STEP frameworks. There is a blog post, I believe, on which is available if you want to read more about the STEPS framework, but my responsibility is to see that they have the right level of steps and also ask them where you want to go. And this is what I do. I approve the expenses, I search for answers questions that they may have, I adjust the steps and salaries, I do the reviews, I am very much involved with the onboarding and offboarding, so when people come from abroad, I really see to that the relocation works as expected. I make sure that we have enough staffing during holidays, if necessary. Drive improvement issues regarding working environment, like I'm called. All right. Now, this is separate from the HR stuff because we really care about the hiring. So this is what I expect that a chapter lead does. Have the staffing according to our needs. Okay, so that's about head counts. See to that, what kind of numbers do we need? Have a hiring pipeline that moves the right speed. So we want to bring in the right people, but we want to exclude the wrong people as fast as possible. You could put it like that. See to that we get good candidates. Now, good candidates, good, programming or practicing skill is just one part of it. We need a diverse crowd as well. We can't just have young white males, 25 years, building our application, because it would look in the end very weird, and it would only perhaps appeal white young male in the 25 years old. No, we need everyone. We need women, men, old, young, from different locations in the world. So how do you find still very good people, but that match this diversity thing, which is super important, and it's not that easy. But if you ask the right question and exclude the wrong ones, you've got a shot. This is what I do in order to fulfill this. So I'm actually sourcing my own candidates. So I have a network, so I help the recruiters with, have a look at this candidate and stuff like that. I am deeply involved in the interview process, and I see too that I have interviewers more than me that can participate in the interviews. And I also give feedback to the interview process and see to that we have a really great interview process. It's not always perfect. The last one is about supporting the organization. So I make sure that we are following our company values, which is be innovative, be playful, be passionate, and I forgot the last one. These are the things that I would expect. So uphold, I am on the second one, uphold the culture of empowerment and transparency and trust. Now, in technology, we're really, really embracing and caring in our leadership, I would say. It's, even in Sweden, we can have different leadership styles, but the example of, if I have an employer that sort of doesn't really like the working assignments that I can give the person, I try to find that person another position within the company, rather than losing a good employer, because it's really costly to hire people, and it's even costlier to lose them. These are the things I do in order to accomplish this. So I'm active in all our lead meetings that we have in the tribe. I'm actively giving feedback back to the meetings and give my observation from my part of the world, and try to improve the organization, if applicable, to make everything a little bit better. Share knowledge and practices that I use to others. Now, when it comes to organization, it's not about the practicing skill, it's more about how we act as leaders towards our employers. And it could be things that I have seen perhaps in other chapter leads that I really like, and I would like to enforce that so that we can learn from that and be better. You know, things that we do good, continue doing that, and things that we do bad, do less of that. I have a couple of references, mainly the videos that are made by Henrik Kniberg. They are really, really good. If you haven't seen them, I encourage you to see them, because it really tells about the software engineering culture that we have at Spotify. If you're interested in how this is an old paper, how we scale at Spotify, how we scale Agile at Spotify. It's more of an organizational charter. That's where I took the line organization picture from. That is what I had to say about the chapter lead role. So I'm happy to take questions at that time.
Вопросы? Hi. Sorry for my English. You say that you have chapter meetings, squad meetings one-to-ones, and the question is how much time you spend usually for these speaking activities, and how much time programmer or QA engineer spend for these activities? Thank you.
Okay. Depends on how many employees I have. I have 2 today and 1 on maternity leave, so I can spend more time in the squad. But I'm trying to make sure that I take non-blocking tasks from the backlog. If I would, and then I go away to meetings and I promise to do things and I can't deliver, that's bad for the squad, so I try to avoid that. So it depends on how many employees I have.
Hello.
Hello.
What is the perfect size of the squad?
Yeah, 7, 6, I would say.
Okay.
Hello, thank you very much for so detailed presentation. But I wanted to a little bit clarify for myself, if talking about working in fast-growing companies, what is like top 3 or top 5 main processes you need to do to maintain the growth?
To maintain the growth?
Mm-hmm.
Hiring process. Hiring process, I think, is number 1, and then it's number 2. It's so important to find people, and when you find a person, you need to get the process until you actually hire them or don't hire them. It needs to be fast. So that is actually where you put the most work in it, in terms of when to growth. But you need also to keep persons. So what's the point in hiring if you lose people from the other end? So keeping personal development is sort of an indirect way of keeping the growth rate is sort of healthy. But I would say the hiring process is number 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you very much for presentation. I saw rectangle in one tribe, or rectangle chapter in one tribe, and rectangle chapter in another tribe. Is that one, or it is 2 different chapters?
So it's 2 different chapters. So in my tribe, there's 1 QA manager, it's me. In another tribe, there's another QA manager for a QA chapter.
Thank you.
And this fluffy thing that you saw that encompassed several people, that is what we call guilds. So if we come up with a really cool thing within testing, how do we spread the knowledge to the rest of the company? We use guilds for that. And guilds we define as a community of interest, so you can be a developer if you like to participate in that.
Who do you report to? Like, you don't have anyone to have one-on-ones with?
Yes, I do. I have my boss. I have the tribe lead.
Oh, you report
Yes,
to
and the tribe lead
Oh.
has every chapter lead and the tribe as employers under him.
Oh, okay, I have another question.
Thank you for the great presentation. I have in fact 2 questions. The first one, you have daily sync ups inside the squad, and do you have some sync ups inside the tribe to sync information between the squads?
Yes, we do. We have tribe lead meetings and we have tribe chapter meetings. There's a lot of meetings. If you look at the calendar for busy chapter leads, it's insane. So sometimes we don't go to all the meetings, but to answer your questions, we have 2 meetings. One is bi-weekly and one is weekly. And that's where we sync the leads within the tribe.
Thank you. And the second question, how often do you rotate or never rotate people between the squads?
Depends on the people. Some people are really happy just spending their life in that squad. They like it. That's how they are. Some other people, they want to see new stuff. Some people want to go from from developer to agile coach. We have an agile coach who's gone back to iOS developer. And those people who are frequently rotating, I would say a year or half a year in each squad and jumps around.
Hello. Could you please say about fails in your team? What fails do you have? Most interesting fails do you had?
Fails like in bugs or fails like in...
When you can do something but promise it.
Oh, all right. Oh, I'm really bad at giving feedback. And my boss reminds me, you should be better at giving feedback. Yes, I say. But I'm really bad at that. So that's a fail because feedback is so important. And I love getting feedback myself. Mostly, I mean, it's sort of, it has to be constructive feedback, right? If it's something I can't change, what's the point in telling me? You're white, you should be black. Yeah, but that sort of doesn't make any sense. But if it's sort of a behavior, I need to know that. Maybe I'm talking too loud and people are afraid of me and that I should change that. So giving feedback, so that's a fail, and I hope that others give me feedback whenever we fail in that respect.
Hello.
Hello.
You have two type of groups by technology organization. It's chapters and guilds. How you decide what questions to talk about in chapter meetings and guild meetings?
That's a good question. So when we have chapter meetings with quality, we more discuss the challenges we have with quality that has to do with our squad. Sorry, tribe. Because I have members that are participating in different squads in the tribe, so we discuss things that only relates to the tribe. Whereas in a guild, we discuss things that could be sort of, well, we could talk about Appium, for instance, and have discussions about why are we not using Appium, and then we have an open discussion about that. Whereas in my chapter, Appium is not that interesting because we are a back-end team.
Hello, thank you for presentation. A little question: how you can understand in an interview that this candidate is your or not your? Wrong, you said.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes, okay. So I can only relate to testers and test automators. So for test automators, I send off a programming assignment, and if I don't get anything back, then that's it. If I get code back, I look at the code. If the code looks good, we continue. So for test automation, it's sort of, that's the first filter we have. When it comes to testers that are sort of technical testers, we have requirements on what they should master. Like they should know how to SSH into a server, how to see how the server is feeling like hardware-wise, what commands would you issue to see if there's CPU load or you know, stuff like that. So you can ask, and also open questions are really, really good. So we have a set of open questions and see where the discussion is leading. So having a Hangout or Skype is really, really good at that. Just having mail conversation doesn't really do it.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Valery Baronin, Positive Technologies. Karl, what about long-term planning? Strategic sessions, mechanisms like MBO, management by objectives, something like this. Do you apply this technique?
I don't know. We have something called strategy days where all the upper management comes together and informs each other what the next things are. We have a priority list of what our bets are, and bets are sort of a thing where we say, we believe that we need to do this. It's a bet. And then we prioritize that bet. And the bet that gets the highest priority is the thing that individual squads should be working with. Now, the bet can mean different things for different squads. Some squads doesn't apply to them, but for some squads it may, and then they should work with that.
Okay, so where did you get these bets or?
From upper management. From tribe leads meeting with We also have something called alliances, which is a group of tribes. So alliances lead, tribe leads, product owners, product leads, design leads, the CTO, and sometimes the founder. So that's where the decisions are made.
Okay, thank you.